Hey there, Cinemaster fans. Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. Our movie begins today with Ethan and Emma driving their car, trying to reach a safe place. They appear anxious and scared because they know a deadly virus has spread among people. The government warns everyone to hide and never go out to protect themselves. The two discuss where they should go, but suddenly they hit something and have an accident. The next morning, Ethan wakes up and finds himself alone in the car. We understand that a significant amount of time has passed since that day, and he only remembers what happened because he had another accident. He notices bloodstains in the car and broken glass, leaving him puzzled. He wonders whose blood it is, steps out, and starts shouting Emma's name, but no one responds. The streets are completely empty, and he's the only one walking around due to the events that occurred. Along the way, he sees many destroyed cars and demolished houses, with "Help us" written on the rooftops, evidence that a lot of time has passed since the crisis began. Ethan keeps wandering the area, hoping to find someone to help him. He spots a car passing by and tries to stop it. The driver gets out with a weapon, asking why Ethan is there. Ethan explains that he doesn't remember anything and only knows he woke up and found himself in this situation. The man becomes suspicious and prepares to shoot Ethan, but suddenly, someone else shoots the man from a distance. Ethan seizes the moment to run and hide behind a wall. The man insists on aiming at Ethan and tries to locate the shooter. Eventually, the man is injured and falls off the car, giving Ethan a sense of relief as he feels safe now that the man is dead. The person who shot the man from afar reveals themselves. It's a woman named May. She tells Ethan he shouldn't be here alone because it's too dangerous. She checks the car to see if it's still working and asks Ethan to help her move the body first. Suddenly, Ethan faints and realizes someone has carried him away. He dreams of Emma and feels overjoyed until she disappears again. When he wakes up, he finds himself lying in a strange bed in an unfamiliar room. He goes downstairs calling for Emma and finds May in the kitchen. She asks him what he remembers. He says he only recalls being with his girlfriend and trying to escape. He struggles to remember anything else and is bewildered by the destruction around him. He sees various news clippings on the wall, confirming how difficult the past period has been. May explains that all this happened years ago. The world was destroyed, and nature is trying to restore its balance. Unfortunately, many people died. She tells him she relies on solar energy to survive. Suddenly, the power goes out, and May decides to check the issue, asking Ethan to stay put until she returns. However, he doesn't listen and goes outside, discovering a vast farm. He notices there's no one else in the area and sees a skull covered in cobwebs, moving eerily in front of him. Terrified, he runs to May to warn her. She tells him she's used to such things because it's just a statue she set up and asks him not to go near it. She also shows him the solar panels she built herself. Ethan offers to check the malfunction and manages to restore the electricity within seconds, but then he faints again. May tries to wake him and insists he focus and regain consciousness. Ethan is amazed by her way of life and tries to adapt to it. He sees her dragging an infected animal, saying it will be their meal for the day. When they go inside, she locks the door with multiple locks, warning him to stay vigilant because they are always in danger. When Ethan argues with her, she pulls her weapon on him, shocking him. She hands him the weapon and asks him to aim it at her, but he refuses, saying he could never do that. May praises him, revealing it was a test, and he passed because otherwise he might have shot himself. After dinner, Ethan thanks May for helping him and tells her he needs to continue his journey to find his girlfriend. May refuses to let him leave so easily and asks him to help her with a few tasks first, just as she helped him. Ethan works tirelessly, completing the tasks. Later, May plays music and pressures him to dance with her. Though reluctant, he agrees out of politeness, seeing how lonely she is. Every time he tries to leave, she finds something to delay him. This goes on until nightfall when May tells him it's too dangerous to leave now and promises to help him search for Emma the next day. She takes him to his room, where he falls asleep and dreams of his girlfriend again. He fears she might be somewhere unreachable and feels guilty for not finding her. It becomes clear that Ethan has memory issues, recalling fragmented events. He remembers Emma standing in front of an old, abandoned cabin. He recalls they had agreed to hide there if they ever got separated. Ignoring all of May's warnings, Ethan decides to leave at night to search for Emma. He steals the car of the man who died, drives off, and finds the road long and desolate. After driving for a while, he becomes exhausted and loses control of the car. He notices a sign indicating the cabin is nearby. At that moment, he sees Emma again but suddenly wakes up to find the car parked, and he's asleep inside. He arrives at the cabin, looks around, and tries to see who's inside. The cabin is boarded up with wooden planks, and there's no sign of life. He calls out for Emma, but when no one answers, he decides to remove the planks and check for himself. Inside, he discovers a woman, but it's not Emma. She introduces herself as Julia and has a small, frightened child named Sam hiding with her. Julia tries to protect herself and threatens Ethan with a weapon. Ethan is confused about what they're afraid of and tries to understand. Suddenly, a strange creature appears. It looks somewhat human but mutated, its body covered in moss, and a bizarre plant grows out of its head. Julia runs to shut the door before the creature enters. Ethan helps her, but the monster is much stronger than them. It breaks his fingers, knocks him to the ground, and tries to grab Julia by her head. However, in the end, Ethan saves her. The monster insists on entering, breaks the glass of the door, and reaches Julia again. Ethan grabs her weapon to kill the monster, only to discover it has no bullets. He picks up the hammer from the ground and keeps hitting the monster on the head until he finishes it off. Julia goes to comfort Sam and puts him to sleep after everything that happened. Ethan is surprised to see the monster outside still moving and alive after all that. Julia explains to him that these are zombies and they don't die easily. She also mentions that they are much smarter than humans. She notices his broken hand and asks what happened to him. They talk about Emma, and he tells her that she is a doctor and was the one who bandaged his wound. He says he will make a great effort to remember what happened to them. He recounts that the last thing he knew was that a virus spread, and when the infection became widespread and people started turning, he and Emma decided to flee to a distant place. Julia asks him to get some rest and assures him she will keep watch. She warns him that she will kill him if he tries to harm her or Sam. As soon as Ethan falls asleep, he dreams of a strange man sitting at a table, torturing Emma brutally. The next morning, he wakes up feeling very shocked and unable to see clearly. He is horrified to find the place covered in blood and deeply saddened to see Julia killed and her body mutilated. He rushes outside and sees a red-haired woman eating another person. However, she doesn't look like the zombies he saw at night. He understands that she has only recently been infected. When she walks away, Ethan goes to check on the victims and finds Sam. He remembers Julia screaming and calling his name during the night. When the red-haired woman sees him, she doesn't attack him. Strangely, she tries to communicate with him and explain something, but cannot produce any sound. Suddenly, someone shoots her, and she dies. A woman named Mia approaches him calmly and tries to stop him from getting close to the red-haired woman because she is dangerous. She keeps shooting her to silence her completely. When Mia tries to shoot Sam, Ethan feels it's too much for him to handle. She tries to explain to him that if she doesn't do this, Sam will turn and become a monster too. Afterward, she leaves him and goes to kill Julia. Ethan notices that the birdhouse has the same tattoo as Emma's and searches inside thoroughly, hoping to find something. Mia returns and realizes that he doesn't remember anything from the previous day. He doesn't pay attention to her words because he finds his girlfriend's phone. There is a video of her crying, explaining that he has memory loss and his condition has worsened significantly. She says he has been like this for a long time. The video shows him sleeping behind her, and she continues talking about what happened. However, the phone's battery dies before the video ends. Ethan screams in frustration, feeling hopeless. Mia asks him to calm down because he is putting their lives in danger. She reassures him and tells him she has a charger at home. She suggests he come with her so she can help him. He agrees to go with her without suspecting her at all. She takes him to her car and tries to clean his face. Strangely, he doesn't remember her. He admires the car as if it's his first time using one. She explains that the car battery is dead and won't work now. She decides they should walk to her house. She finds a bicycle on the ground and thinks it's better to use it to get there. Ethan feels she's very strange and her behavior is unusual, but he has no choice but to follow her instructions to get her help. They ride the bicycle together and reach her house. On the way, she explains that they already know each other, but he has forgotten because of his condition. They encounter many zombies on their way, and their appearances are terrifying. Ethan asks her if she lives alone or with someone else. She calmly replies that her husband died and she is alone. He notices the same gas station he always sees in his dreams and suddenly remembers arriving at this place with Emma. He promises to protect her. When they get out of the car, Mia doesn't notice a zombie approaching her. Ethan screams to warn her and grabs the gun to kill the zombie. He shoots it at the last moment, saving her. Emma thanks him for keeping his promise to her. Suddenly, the zombie rises again and grabs his hand. Ethan snaps back to reality, unable to remember what happened next. Mia realizes he has forgotten her again and tries to reintroduce herself, but he tells her he remembers her and knows what happened very well. When they reach the door, Mia suspects something is wrong and asks him to stay completely silent. She searches the house thoroughly and finds a man hiding. He introduces himself as Tom and explains that he is looking for his wife and is willing to do anything she asks if she helps him. Mia takes his weapon and tells him she doesn't trust anyone. Feeling sorry for him, she decides to let him stay and eat with them. She asks him to work on the farm while she prepares food, but keeps an eye on them through the window. After a while, Tom pretends he needs to use the bathroom. He goes and retrieves his rifle, hiding it. Mia gives them juice to drink and asks them to rest inside. When Tom goes to wash his hands, Mia asks Ethan to say in front of Tom that he isn't hungry and doesn't want to eat. Ethan doesn't understand why, but agrees to do what she asks. They sit down to eat, but Ethan doesn't eat as instructed. Tom shows them a picture of his wife, saying she disappeared 10 days ago. Suddenly, Ethan feels unwell and collapses. Tom takes advantage of the situation, threatening Mia with his weapon and hitting her while she doesn't defend herself. The sedative Mia put in the food starts to affect Tom. When he feels weak, he realizes she tricked him. She gets up and hits him on the head with all her strength until he passes out. After a while, Ethan regains consciousness and finds no one around. He hears Mia leaving and telling him she will return soon. Suddenly, two men enter through the door with weapons and try to wake Tom, calling him by name. Ethan understands they are his friends. They ask Ethan to stay calm. When Mia comes down, they grab her by the neck and tie her to a chair. She swears she has diabetes and that the injection is her insulin shot, but no one believes her. At this moment, Tom wakes up and asks his friends, Vax and Wolf, to search the house because he suspects his wife is there. He warns Wolf to be cautious so Mia doesn't escape. Ethan goes to search with them and tries to convince Tom that Mia is evil and may have harmed many people, not just his wife. Wolf asks me what's in her barn because he hears noises coming from inside. When she refuses to answer, he decides to search it himself. Second, he struggles to decide whom to believe and becomes unable to think clearly. Suddenly, he finds his mother's necklace lying on the ground. Tom storms in angrily with a bag, empties its contents on the table, revealing numerous wallets and IDs, clearly stolen from various people. He notices his wife's rosary among them and asks her where she got it. She claims she made it herself. Tom becomes upset because she insists on lying to him, growing angrier. Ethan appears at that moment, threatening her with a weapon, demanding she reveal where the girl is or else he'll kill her. She tells him the girl died a long time ago and insists she has nothing to do with what happened to her. Fox goes to help Wolf open the door, and they are shocked to find that the place has been transformed into a small hospital with full medical equipment. They find one of their friends lying on a bed with his arm amputated. They are stunned because he had been missing for a very long time. Tom is shocked to learn that Ethan is losing his memory and asks him how he broke his arm. When they press her to tell the truth, she admits that Ethan was also dying, just like his girlfriend. Wolf runs to inform others about what's happening but falls into a trap she had set, leading to a massive explosion. Tom learns that his friends have died and decides to kill her because she was the cause of it all. He doesn't realize he's using her weapon, and as soon as he pulls the trigger, the bullet hits him instead of her. He injures his arm and screams in pain. Ethan becomes severely exhausted, trying to control himself. A zombie, attracted by Tom's screams, attacks him and eats him alive. When they are finally safe, Ethan's condition worsens, and May tries to help him recover, staying by his side until he falls asleep. The next day, when he wakes up, he doesn't recognize her anymore and forgets everything that happened. May tells him that their food supplies are running out and they need to go hunting again. He tries to stand and prepares himself. As he walks, he remembers being with Amma and arriving at Nee's house. There, they meet the same strange man Ethan always sees in his dreams. The man introduces himself as Kai and warns his daughter, Caroline, to aim her gun at them. He tries to protect himself and his daughter in case they mean harm. Amma explains that they had an accident on the road and begs him to let them stay, or at least give them some food. Kai agrees to let them in, but first checks to ensure they aren't infected. Searching them in a strange manner, he asks his daughter to recite a spell she knows to protect them. The girl warns them to be cautious because her brother Bobby was harmed by people like them. Kai takes them into the house, offers them something to drink, and explains that he is a religious man with strict rules in his home. He believes this virus outbreak is a sign of God's anger with humanity and that people must return to God for forgiveness to resolve these problems. After some time, Ethan returns to reality, finding himself with May, trying to hunt. He notices the drawing on his cast, which he recalls was always red, and wonders how it suddenly turned green. Suspicious of May, he threatens her with a weapon, accusing her of changing the drawing and suspecting something is wrong. She responds coldly, saying that the red paint ran out. He realizes she has been doing this repeatedly. The truth is, Ethan was infected by the zombie the day he tried to save Amma and had been hiding his hand the entire time. May had been helping him, saying the infection stops spreading if controlled, which she had been doing all along. Ethan's mind flashes back to the time they spent with Kai while eating. Kai's wife, Sarah, enters and meets them. Ethan suddenly feels unwell, and Amma apologizes, taking him to rest. She asks Ethan to calm down and promises never to abandon him. She returns to join them and thanks them for their help. Suddenly, Kai pulls out his weapon and asks his wife to go to the wooden house and lock herself in. Sarah is confused but obeys him. He explains that he understands what's happening that Ethan seems to be infected but has forgotten. He tells her this is how Amma has been controlling his infection. However, he doesn't notice that Sarah and their daughter go upstairs to check on Ethan. They find him in terrible condition and are shocked to discover he is transformed. He attacks them. Hearing Sarah's screams, Kai rushes to save her. Amma seizes the opportunity to attack him with a knife. A fight ensues between them, with each trying to kill the other. She grabs his weapon when it falls to the ground and kills him, but she also dies at the same time. Amma hears Ethan's screams upstairs and tries to get up to help him. Ethan is devastated when he remembers everything that happened, realizing he caused Amma's death. May tells him his life is incredibly difficult and that he must eat specific things daily to avoid turning into a monster and maintain his humanity. May reveals that Amma used to keep victims in the wooden house, cutting pieces of their bodies daily to feed Ethan. The biggest shock is that May is actually Amma, who has aged while Ethan hasn't because he is infected and doesn't age. When he started forgetting her face and couldn't recognize her, she created this story to keep him by her side. Ethan tells her he is just a monster and must die. Amma refuses, insisting he is her love and they must stay together. When he pressures her, saying he must die, she tells him that even if she tried to kill him, he would come back to life. Ethan decides to test it himself, takes the weapon and shoots himself, only to come back to life, confirming the reality he faces. He realizes he must find another solution to the torment Amma is living in. He convinces her to surrender to him, turning her into a zombie like himself. They become the same, allowing them to live together forever. And with that, our movie ends today. Stay tuned for more videos and summaries. Goodbye.